AM and FM WCSR, Andy Brown with you on the Timeout Show. We're going to get right to it. Really excited tonight to have head coach Ernie Arno and the North Adams Jerome Rams, one of the hottest baseball teams in the entire area, with us. Coach, how you doing?
Good.
Good to have you guys. I mean, this all came together a little differently. Usually I book my own guests. I got a call from Janoffi last week and said, Coach will be there and so will all the players, and they'll be there by 6 and all this stuff. I mean, Janoffi's about to become my booking agent here. It worked out pretty good.
Well, he kind of did the same thing to me. So
he said, get there, huh?
yeah, he said, you're set to go at 6 o'clock, and I've already called this person and that person. So I said, okay, Tony, I guess you don't leave us much choice.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Good to have George Voice in here, Cody Hodshire, Brad Van Camp, Luke Hart, Eric McCormick, head coach Ernie Arno, and Chris Voisin. I assume, Chris, you're an assistant this year?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, what are you teaching chemistry now?
I teach chemistry, advanced biology, and earth science.
Wow. You're smarter than I thought. That's pretty good. Coach Arno, your 6th year, you mentioned, as the head coach at North Adams Jerome. Talk a little bit about your ball club so far. You come in at 22-7 today, 20-0 in the SCAA so far. Obviously a spectacular start. Talk a little bit about this year's Rams baseball team.
Well, we returned everybody from our regional team last year. I knew offensively we could do some very good things returning everybody. We hit about 350, 360 last year as a team. I'm doing about the same this year. I'm coming in. Our pitching, as you know, last year Brad chipped a bone in his elbow in the regional game. So the bulk of our pitching this year has come from 2 sophomores. And then Brad has finished up nicely in quite a few of the games. So we kind of keep pitch count down, and he starts it short for us all the time.
So offensively, the pitching has been there. As far as the position guys go, who did you replace going into the season? What did you have to move around different from last year on the defensive side?
The only real big difference was Brad, moving him off the rotation. He plays short every day, which moved Cray Gordon over to third base every day. Realistically, that's really the only moves we've had to make.
So you've got a lot of veteran guys, players who've been in your program for 4 years now that have played a lot of baseball for you. How much fun is it to have guys that know what your expectations are, they know how practice works, they know what you expect going into a season?
It makes practices go much smoother, when you can just get right into practice and get it going.
And as far as the schedule goes, you're 22-7. You mentioned off the air a second ago, 3 of your losses are to Reading, who is another one of the great teams in the area, and we want to get Coach Bailey in here if we can. 22 wins at this point in the season, 20-0 in the SCAA. I guess the highlight, at least for a lot of the listeners and a lot of the people who called the program, the 2 wins over Climax Scots. Climax Scots, state ranked at the time. You guys swept a doubleheader over them. Talk about both of those games and kind of how those games played out.
Well, the first game we won 4-1. We were actually leading that game 4-0 going into the 6th inning. Chris Thompson on the mound got a little excited, realizing, because we had talked all along that I'm not sure the exact dates, but it's been 7 or 8 years since Climax has even been beat in our league. And in talking to T.G. Cook and Hodis, I don't think we can ever remember them being swept at all since they've entered our league. So he gave up a run there. And in the second game, we won 8-4. Give up 1 earned run in that game. So that was a very nice win, or 2 very nice wins for our ball club.
You and I talked off the air. We've faced each other coaching football before, and kind of been through the battles at small schools coaching. And it is a grind because you become a recruiter. You're trying to convince kids that they want to be part of what you're doing. You become, a strength trainer. You become a scheduler. You become a psychiatrist sometimes. I mean, coaching at these small schools, you have to wear a lot of hats for a long, long time to get good at it and to be successful with your program, don't you?
Yes, immensely. Because there's just Chris and myself there. You get some of the bigger programs. They've got a third base coach, a first base coach, a hitting coach, a pitching coach, and we have to do it all, along with, as you say, the many hats. You have to deal with the grades and the parents and all that kind of stuff as well.
Do you have to drive the bus yet, or do they still provide you a bus driver?
Well, we get buses for the most part. Every once in a while we have to take ourselves, but every once in a while we get a bus.
We also talked about the psychology of sports and sort of the expected norm, which is Climax Scots is going to be difficult to beat. For my football teams down at Camden, we always knew when we played Pittsford, well, we hadn't beaten I don't think we've beaten Pittsford in football since like 1993 or something like that. The kids just expect that they're going to lose to Pittsford, and that's part of the culture that we have to change. Going into that game against Climax Scots, a lot of your kids had probably never beaten them before at high school baseball. Did you do anything different? Did you have a talk with them about going into it and expecting to win? How were you able to get through that psychologically so that your kids believed they could win that game?
Honestly, we kind of went same thing we always do. I did reiterate, they haven't been beaten 7 years in the league and had never been swept. So, other than that, we stayed pretty much the same in practice and went about business as usual.
And the success speaks for itself. Ernie Arno is the head coach of the Rams baseball team. They're 22-7, 20-0 in the SCAA conference. They join us tonight on the Time Out Show. Your style of baseball, Coach Arno, you have some managers who like to do a lot of bunting and running and station-to-station ball. Other people like to get a couple on and hope for the long ball. Is that dictated by your personnel, or do you have a philosophy of how you want your teams to play the game?
Personally, a lot of it's personnel. You have certain people in certain positions to hopefully do certain things, but again, situational dictates some of that as well. You generally don't bunt your third and fourth hitter unless you need to get that winning run or tying run over, and then you do what you have to do to manufacture runs at times. So,
let's talk about the rest of the season. What are some big regular season games you have left? And then I want to talk about your district tournament.
Well, we have Union City coming up tomorrow night. We have 2 with Litchfield, 2 with Teconcha, and then our pre-district night we have 2 with Lansing Christian. They're going to come down so that we have a game that week going into our district.
Districts at Pittsford?
Yes.
So you'll face Litchfield, CF, and Pittsford in that tournament?
Yes, we drew Litchfield, so Ken Refrenier and Pittsford will play in the second game, and then 2 winners after that.
And do you happen to know the date on that right off the top of your head? I don't want to put you on the spot.
The 1st, I think.
June 1st is your district?
June 1st is the district.
At Pittsford?
Yes.
And you're going to face Litchfield in that district tournament opener?
Yes.
Awesome. How has the community, the school community, the parents and fans, how have they responded to your team so far this year? Have you gotten the support that a 22-7 team would expect to get?
I would think so. You look up and just about every kid's parents are at just about every game. We've been real lucky this year with our scheduling because the only team on the West Coast we had to go to was Battle Creek St. Phil. Mm-hmm. So the year before, the only team we had at home was Battle Creek St. Phil. So when you don't have to travel every day, you get more of a following than when you have to go to Colon, Bellevue, and Climax in succession. It makes it a little difficult for parents and followers to get to that. So
if let's say you have a normal week with a couple of doubleheaders during the week, how does your practice schedule work out? You practice the other 2 or 3 days that you can. How long do you practice, and what do you try to hone in on during that precious practice time that you actually do get?
We generally practice an hour and a half, 2 hours. Some of it dictates how we've played, whether we need to work defensively, whether we need to work offensively. And this year we've done a little bit different. Kind of Mr. Voisin's idea. We've scrimmaged a little bit more using a tee and our jugs machine. Mm-hmm. So we save our arms using the jug machine and then work a little bit hand-eye coordination with the tee.
I want to bring Cody in. I had Cody in one of my JCC classes, and I've gotten to know him over the years. Come on up, dude. Don't be shy. You're not. I know you're not. I've enjoyed watching Cody play. I didn't really love watching him play football last year, but that's because they beat us. But enjoyed watching him play football and basketball, and now going through the baseball season. Cody, they changed the bats on you for your senior year.
Yeah.
Perfect timing, right?
Right.
Have you noticed, I talked to a couple other baseball coaches about this, have you guys noticed a big difference, or is it not that big of a deal?
Oh, it's a huge difference. The other day I was taking batting practice, and I just switched to our old bats, and it's just how fast it comes off of it. It's crazy. the difference and the noise it makes and how far it goes. It's just complete difference.
Is it harder to hit one out?
I haven't hit one out. You should ask Eric McCormick. He hit one out against Climax. But
Wasn't that hard for him, huh?
no. Yeah, it's it's hard. It's a lot harder to hit. Stats prove it.
Yeah. So safety first, I guess. I just wonder what the coaches and players around think about it. Coach Voisin or Arno, you can jump in on that. Are you happy with that rule change, or were you fine with it the way that it was?
Safety-wise, I think something had to be done. In talking to other coaches, we're looking at probably 10 to 20 feet on an average base hit or a fly ball is kind of what we're seeing off these bats. So, but
that's a big difference.
It is. But when you're standing down there at third base at 85 feet, that makes a huge difference.
And
as
in
well,
baseball, you guys don't wear the softball masks.
No, sir.
So you have a lot of dental work. You better have your insurance premium paid up. Yep. Cody, you've played ball with these kids for a long time. Was it even before ninth grade? Had you played with some of these guys even in Little League and some of those pre-leagues?
Oh, yeah, in T-ball. I was playing with Brad when I was 5 and Luke when I was 5. Been playing junior pro with them since first grade. And with Eric since, 5th or 6th grade? When did you come here? 4th grade?
So you guys played a lot of ball together. How special was it? I know every win is special, and you enjoy every time you're able to get a win. But to sweep Climax Scott, something that maybe has never been done before by an SCAA team in a doubleheader, how sweet was that for your team?
It was great, considering that in other sports we get so close. In basketball, we were down by 3, and we didn't pull out the win, and then we get to sweep them. It just was awesome. I
want to ask Brad about that because I'm a huge fan of Brad's basketball skills. I've not seen him play a lot of baseball, but in that game against Climax at your place in basketball, and I have a baseball question related to this, so hang with me. You guys did not back down. Even when it looked like they were pulling away in the third quarter, you came right back and had the game in hand and a chance to win it right until the very end. And I could tell right there that you guys were not intimidated by those guys at all. You weren't afraid of them. You didn't back down from them at all. Did that carry over into baseball as well?
I mean, definitely. I mean, you see their size in basketball. I mean, it's intimidating at first, but I mean, you got to come right at them. I mean, at the end of the day, they put their shoes and socks on the same way we do, so just play ball with them.
Do Cook and Satterley play baseball too, or are they on a different sport?
Not. Just basketball and football.
So that was your last crack at those guys in that basketball game?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, it was a great moment. I mean, the atmosphere in the gym that night was really electric, and the fan support behind it was really off the charts. Mr. Voisin, I got to know when I student taught back at North Adams 16 years ago, I want to say. Mr. Voisin, what's your role on the team this year, and how have you seen the team progress during the course of the season?
I kind of get a lot of the practices started. I'm a big drill fundamentals. Mm-hmm. Being a science person, I'll talk the science or the physics of the game. Talk about, as outfielders, getting to an angle to the ball. So we do, at times, draw in the sand. And we really try to break the game down into the bits and pieces. And if you can handle the bits and pieces when you're up against a Climax Scots or a Columbia Central, you can pull off and beat some of those guys.
Mm-hmm. And you've done it. You've gotten some big wins. Eric McCormick, obviously, I've enjoyed watching him all these years, and kind of cool to have him in the studio. Eric, you've not had much luck this year against Reading. What was the difference in those Reading games, and what did they do that was so tough to get over the top against?
I don't really know. Just the pitching-wise, I wasn't really comfortable with the pitching. And
so Reading's pretty decent.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team.
That's kind of the theme I'm getting out of it. Is there any chance, Coach, that you'd see them again, or are we done with Reading this year?
I believe they're in Division III.
Okay, so you're done
up,
with them.
Yep, they're up, and we're down at 4. So.
And you're okay with being down in 4?
Yeah, I mean, numbers-wise, we'll probably...
There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, nothing we can do, so...
As you look at this team against the other 5 teams that you've coached, is this rank right up there as one of the best teams that you've had in your tenure?
Man for man, yes. This is by far, as a team, the best hitting team we've had. Of course, the power numbers are obviously down this year, but the batting average is still right there the same. So, all things said, top to bottom, this is probably the best.
Those guys that have those power records, those home run and RBI totals, especially the home run totals that set them prior to 2012, they've probably got a pretty good hold on those records for a while, don't they?
Yes, I would dare to say so. And a lot of it depends on which, where you play. If you play a lot of games, like say for us at our field, our football field is our outfield, which is a long ways away.
Yes, it is.
As compared to, say, playing down at Camden or Burr Oak or some of those other places where the fences are 15, 20, 30 feet closer than they are for us. So,
when you need a clutch hit, when you need somebody to come through with runners on and scoring position, who's a guy or two that you can count on this season to get that run home?
In all honesty, it's been all of us.
Everybody can do it.
We've had games where the top 5 can't find the ball, and the bottom 4 carry us until the top 5, can find their way. And then we've had games where it's just been the opposite. So in all honesty, it's been everybody. It's not just been one person.
And I think that's the way that you want it. You don't want to be able to key on or have to be able to depend on 1 or 2 guys to drive in those big runs and the clutch hits and everything that goes with it. Up and down the order, philosophy-wise, are you putting speed at the the 9 and 1 position? Are you trying to mix it through? How do you kind of scheme out your batting order 1 through 9?
Well, Mr. McCormick hits leadoff for us, 90 feet. I don't know who is quicker, 90 feet. He is extremely fast. One change that we made last year, Mr. Voisin and I talked, and we moved our 8-hitter to the 5-hole to give us, say, another leadoff hitter right in the middle of our lineup, which has actually made a big difference because putting Cody Ramey there has given us like another leadoff person. So actually at 1, 5, and 9, we've got very, very quick individuals.
And that can make all the difference in the middle of that lineup. I watch every Tiger game and listen to them. They have one fast person on their team. So when you have a little bit of speed, that can make a huge difference, can it?
Yes, extremely.
Your district is June 1st. It's at Pittsford High School against Litchfield. You've got some big games coming up before that. I want to bring Cody in one more time before I let you guys go. Tell the listeners what the next 24 hours or so has in store for you, because it is almost 6:30. Your day is really just beginning in a way. What's coming up for you guys next?
Well, I woke up at 7:30, studied an extra 30 minutes of the 2 hours that I studied for my 7th hour biology 2 exam. Went to school. I just got done with school, went home, packed stuff up, and then went straight to practice. Now I'm here. Senior Spotlight tonight is from 6:30 till we have 38 kids, so who knows when. And then right after that, I'm boarding a bus to Bryan, Ohio. Then it's a 17-hour bus or train ride to New York City for our senior trip. 17
hours?
Yep.
They have a bathroom on that train?
Yes, and the rule is to go to the train ahead of you. That way it stinks up there.
Where's Luke Hart at here? Luke, man, I've enjoyed watching you play too. And are you heading on this trip too?
No, I'm staying home this one.
You're not going to make the 17-hour trip, huh?
No, that's just not my idea.
What position are you playing this year, and what's your take on your team so far?
I'm catching this year. I've actually been fortunate to get a couple of games off, but we're doing well. It's fun winning. It's always fun to win, and we're just playing great ball as a team right now.
George Voisin's the other guy we haven't mentioned yet. George, where are you playing at this year?
I am second string outfielder, third string second baseman, and fourth string catcher.
When your dad's drawing in the sand and stuff, are you guys able to get something out of that, or is it really confusing?
I can get something out of it.
All right. George, what grade are you in, man?
I'm in 10th.
really, really awesome start to the year. 20-0 in the league, 22-7. Union City tomorrow night. Now, who are you going to be missing? You're missing Hodshire and Van Camp, right?
No. Brad's going to be there. Cody
Okay.
Ramey.
Cody Ramey,
He's
okay.
the one that hits in the 5-hole and plays right field.
Somebody else going to have to step up.
Exactly. That's why they practice every day.
That's what Jim Leland says. It's a team.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to sub some of your guys out and do it. Well, I really appreciate you coming in. It's great to talk baseball with you always, and football too, for that matter. And I didn't realize that you and Brian Cook, the head football coach, went to school together.
Mm-hmm.
Played football together and everything else.
Yep.
And now you're coaching together.
Mm-hmm.
And the circle just keeps on rolling down to North Adams.
And with George still there. Because George coached Brian and I when we were there in the late 80s, so tells you how long Big George has been around.
George is a larger-than-life guy. I mean, what a personality. And when we're breaking down film, North Adams film, you can always hear George's voice coming over the video. He's just got that voice of God.
You think it's loud on video? You should be on a headset with him. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you very much, Coach, for being here, and best of luck the rest of the way for the rest of your regular season. And, of course, your district's coming up June 1st at Pittsford. Good luck to you guys.
Andy, thank you for having us. One other thing I would like to say is congratulations to the women's softball team on having a great year this year as well.
Yep. Thank you very much, Coach Arno and the whole team, the North Adams Rams, with us tonight. We'll be back with much more coming up on WCSR.